All right. I can say what we saying. The long and windy road. Yeah, good old flatulence. Is that like the proper term of using it? I think so. Okay, that's probably my gonna be my best vocabulary word of the day. A good way to start the start a week off with some flatulence. Thunderbirds, yes, the best. All right, well I guess let's do it. All right, we're here.
Hey San Diego, it's time we change the conversation on the answer San Diego. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Here's your host to change the conversation, Andrew King.
Well, hello there, everybody. Andrew Gade back here changing things, or maybe just not changing things, but talking about change, and that would be cool, right? Yeah, because I got to sit down and sign some more contracts, and inflation is a real thing. So, yeah, prices are going up everywhere. Even though I told our the general manager here, good old Steve, that when I come in the studio, I actually only use two of the three lights here. So I'm doing my part to save energy because yeah, and I'm breathing less oxygen too. Actually, no, I do breathe a lot of oxygen, but they're not really charging us for that yet. Now, Todd shouldn't have said anything because next up they're going to start charging us for air. We already kind of pay for air though because we're investing in this green technology and like clean air, and we're probably being taxed for it. We just don't know it yet because it hasn't shown up on our air bill yet. So, maybe that's part of the gasoline tax or something. I don't know. I gotta double check my energy bill. Maybe there's a surcharge on there for the air. It's coming, yeah. So I think Eminem was the first one to say something about bottling air and selling it. So, okay. Oh, see, there you go. So that was before Eminem, then probably. Okay, Spaceballs. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Well, but back in the day, supposedly here, people joked about, they laughed at the idea of bottling water. And I think bottled water actually sells more as the number one sold liquid that comes in a some sort of container. So, see, I have no idea. Was it this one right here? No, wasn't. Oh, Perrier. All right, cool. Perrier. Speaking of air, I just saw when I was coming in today, I saw Lucid Air, the new Lucid electric car, and it looks all right. I mean, it's interesting now. I mean, there's Teslas everywhere, um, so it's going to be interesting to find out what happens here. We've talked about it before, but when we don't have enough electricity and then we're all driving electric cars around. So we're going to see what happens with that one there. So, but I was looking at the Lucid Air, and they totally copied Tesla's Model X design for the windshield that draws all the way up into the sunroof, for the front sunroof. So they kind of copied Tesla a little bit on that too. But so Elon Musk is probably flattered a little bit by that. So good job, Elon Musk. And speaking of good old Elon Musk, he's got the Starlink satellites. That's a big. He's planning on putting out thousands of them, in low Earth orbit. And I guess there was a space storm just recently destroyed more of Elon Musk's Starlight satellites. That was back in February, like 38 of them were destroyed. I guess there was an explosion on the surface of the sun caused a wave of energetic solar particles heating up Earth's atmosphere and spiking the density of the air at a level of Starlink satellite's orbit. And then, of course, the Starlink satellites began to sink and ultimately burned up in the atmosphere. So, but I guess he's planned for that, so that's why he's deploying so many of them, knowing he's going to lose some of them. His idea was to blanket pretty much the entire Earth, lower Earth orbit, and have high-speed internet that he could sell to everyone too. And then, of course, his good old buddy Jeff Bezos. I guess he's trying to get into the space thing too. I don't know. Is this like some billionaire thing? They like to build rockets and satellites, and I mean, I don't think Bezos is building electric cars yet. But I know that Amazon's probably investing in electric cars. I know he took over, and was upsetting. But Amazon took over Thursday Night Football, and everyone's blaming Jeff Bezos because now you can't watch Thursday Night Football on most television networks. And even people that have like the DirecTV or whatever, I guess they get one more year of it. So all the football people now are mad at Jeff, so he's buying up football. But this, okay, uh-huh. Well, he's probably trying to buy the NFL. Yeah. Jeff Bezos, you mean, wasn't watching the game? Yeah, he doesn't care about football, probably. Yeah. Yeah, he cares about money. So, I mean, so maybe he's going to buy the entire NFL. I mean, who knows? Whatever, and then you can just, and then Amazon, you have to, like, have NFL delivered to you. Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, so I didn't watch Thursday Night Football because of that. I saw the very end of it, and I think I watched the Chargers lose. So yeah, but they should have left San Diego. So as far as I'm concerned, they should be losing. Yeah, that's what they deserve. But I guess Bezos is starting a space travel company, right? And I guess the rocket that he's testing crashed shortly after liftoff. But don't worry, but the capsule was only carrying experiments, and it managed to parachute safely to the Earth. So no human passengers died yet on that one. So I guess that's good. I can't remember. Has he already sent some people into space for like, I don't know. I guess maybe was that Star Trek? Maybe I might getting confused with now or something. But anyways, yeah, I wonder that might have been with Elon Musk's thing too. So yeah, I guess that's what happens when you have a bunch of billionaires here. They're competing for space travel because that's what we're all saving up for. So one day I could go travel up to space and see a bunch of nothing. I mean, doesn't NASA have some pretty good pictures of Earth from space? I mean, that seems like a much better option, affordable option for the hardworking people like us that are not billionaires. But again, hey, you know what? I wouldn't turn away $1 billion. I wouldn't know what to do with it. So maybe I would start building rockets too. Who knows? But getting a little closer here to Earth, or maybe closer to San Diego home, and something that's a little close to me, and this has been in the works for years, but San Diego made some sweeping changes this last week to the city's 42 neighborhood planning groups. They're saying in an effort to diversify their membership and make them better organized, of course, critics, and I would agree with this, call the changes a developer-driven effort to squash public opposition to dense housing projects. Now, being on the city, the planning group, college area planning group, and community council, I got to witness a lot of things. And I will say that they were, as much as they would think that they were organized, it was like organized disorganization. There was a lot of fighting. There's so much time wasted. I mean, 90+% of the time that was spent at these meetings was a complete waste. People would get into dumb arguments. Nothing was really done. At the same time, they kind of serve an important purpose. So I think that there needs to be changes to them, and I definitely see the value in having the planning groups. And the other issue too is, they're saying, oh, well, they're here to stop all these developers from coming in. Well, yeah, because these high density developments are killing our single family neighborhoods. We don't have their infrastructure now is over $4 billion in disrepair. We have an issue with not having enough water. We have sewer issues. So creating more density in these neighborhoods that weren't designed for it in the first place, and second, don't have the current infrastructure up to date is a huge mistake. And of course, they're blaming the planning groups for doing what's best for the neighborhood. And of course, these people, a lot of them are older and they're homeowners, and they're saying, oh, we want more renters and this and that. Well, renters, they have no stake in the game. They're going to rent for maybe 6 months or a year in this neighborhood. They're going to go to some other neighborhood. They're going to go to some other city. So why would some renters or some short-term person who's not an owner, why would their opinion be valid anyways? So the whole city's argument for that is a bunch of BS. But the city is a bunch of BS. I mean, look at our mayor. Anyways, it's a freaking mess. That's why I moved out of San Diego and I live in this wonderful place called Coronado. And I was just asked about it here this last week. I know, it's heavenly. It's like literally when I cross that bridge, I hear that exact voice. It's like angels singing to me. And someone asked me, like, how's it like living in Coronado? I'm like, well, it's kind of like living on vacation. And it's expensive because being on vacation is expensive. But again, I'm investing in my life and I'm investing in my mental health, my physical health, and that costs money, right? So yeah, I'm doing the right thing. And I'm going to have to eventually figure out how to make more income so that I can afford all this inflation and continue living there. Or I'm going to somehow have to figure out how to lower the cost of living for me and for the other honest, hardworking people. Two key words there: honest and hardworking people. All right, there we go. Contributors, yeah. All the old people that are holding on to all the real estate and that are keeping it from us young people. And you know, another thing that I had a conversation with, and I've mentioned this before, but I mentioned it again, but you do all know that property tax specifically discriminates against younger people, the entire structure. So all these old people living there are paying a much lower rate of property tax than someone that bought a house recently or newer younger buyers. Even the person that bought my house when I sold it here last year is paying twice as much property tax as I was paying. And I was paying over twice as much as my neighbor was paying. So that system is specifically, it discriminates against new buyers and it discriminates against younger people who typically are new buyers, because older people can also transfer their lower property tax rate through some California law. I have an issue with that. Now, getting back to good old San Diego State, there was a new study, and scientists found that the bacteria outbreaks in the San Diego River that forced frequent local beach closures are caused primarily by leaks in aging sewer pipes, not by homeless encampments and failing septic tanks. So there you go, more infrastructure issues. Environmentalists are saying the study is a wake-up call to local sewer agencies and political leaders, contending that the swift and large financial investments are needed to upgrade many local sewer pipes that are well over 50 years old. Okay. Now, of course, the cost to replace these pipes, which could run into the billions of dollars, I think it could run. No, it is going to run into billions of dollars, would be passed on to sewer and water ratepayers by sewer agencies that fund the upgrades. So all the money we've already been paying to our property tax, which is supposed to go to maintaining and investing in infrastructure, has not done that. So now we're going to have to pay more money while the county continues to waste billions of dollars every month on human health services, a broken education system that I've restructured over a decade ago. So if we don't restructure our systems and start funneling all this money to its proper place, i.e. investing in infrastructure, we're only going to continue to see more and more issues. And how is everyone going to pay for this when everything's already going up? You know, are we not factoring in investing in infrastructure into this crazy inflation? So again, we're going to have to start thinking about this, guys. Because right now, our system of local government, our tax systems, our structures are broken, they're inadequate, and they're going to only further lead us to failures. Anyways, we're going to take a short break and catch you on the flip side.
More of Change the Conversation. When we continue next, right here on The Answer San Diego.
All good, brother man. Let's do it.
Welcome back to Change the Conversation on The Answer San Diego. Time now for more compelling content concerning the needs of San Diego. And here's your host, Andrew Game.
Yes, Andrew, and I am still here. Alrighty. So getting to more fun stuff here. Yes, and so we got to talk about homelessness because, of course, that's another big mess here. It's become also a billion-dollar business, and the county is wasting a lot of our property tax on homeless people that are non-contributors and not investing it in infrastructure. And I have a huge issue with that because all we're doing is, in essence, we're feeding stray cats. Yes. Now, there's a few homeless people that can be helped, but the majority, unfortunately, can't, and we're going to have to send them somewhere else. Sorry, that's just the way the world's going to have to look at it. It's nature, okay? I didn't make nature laws. Nature made them. Whether we disagree with them or not, that's the way it is, okay? And sometimes nature is not a nice thing. I know I don't like to see animals getting killed. But unfortunately, sometimes they're going to have to go somewhere else. But when I read this, that in Los Angeles County, I guess leaders announced here about a week ago that lawsuit settlement agreement that commits hundreds of millions of dollars to expand outreach and supportive services for homeless residents, making the potential end of a 2-year litigation over the crisis of people in the streets. LA County will commit an estimated $236 million in new funding to address homelessness through 2027. Mainly on street outreach teams, okay, to make sure people who need help get it. And that's on top of more than $530 million in homelessness funding created by a sales tax approved in 2017. So LA County is going to be spending almost $1 billion. And guess what's happening to homeless there? It's getting worse. Wow. Throwing more money at the problem only is going to make it worse. I think that's proof. I don't know what more proof you need than that. So maybe you should stop putting money in it. Maybe the homelessness will go away. I mean, that's a new idea. It's a more cost-effective one as well. But here in San Diego, we like to make the same mistake as well. We just opened up a new homeless shelter in the Midway district. And when I was reading this article, I find this interesting. It says that now they have showers, restrooms in place. Mental health addiction specialists are ready to work with clients at this new homeless shelter in San Diego Midway district. But first, outreach workers from the Alpha Project, remember these people getting paid for this, have to find those clients living on the streets. So they're calling homeless people clients. Now, normally the term client would apply to someone that's paying for a service. Okay, so the clients are actually the taxpayers who are paying for these services. And imagine that. I wish I had a place that had free showers and all this help. I mean, imagine that, right? That would cost a lot of money. I wouldn't be able to afford it. And then in good old El Cajon, Bill Wells, the mayor over there, he's got all riled up here. I guess he's even threatened some local hotels that they'll be fined for unauthorized operation of an emergency shelter. I guess the county's been giving out a bunch of vouchers for hotel vouchers, and they've been staying all in El Cajon. And talking to Rick, one of my employees that lives in El Cajon, has said that the homeless issue has gotten so bad. He said that one of the 7-Elevens there now blasts like 24 hours a day or most of the day, blasts opera music to keep the homeless people from loitering in front of their place. So El Cajon has got a big issue. So the San Diego is just kind of saying, oh, we're just going to push our homeless people out to, the eastern areas and unincorporated areas. Here's your hotel vouchers. So they get to stay in hotels for free. I mean, guys, really, is that fair? I mean, all these hardworking people out there that are struggling to pay rent, okay? They would probably love to be able to stay in hotels for free because they can't afford their skyrocketing rent. And then, of course, good old Gavin Newsom. Suppose there's 100,000 people living on the streets in California. And this is something that's been in the works for a while, but Gavin Newsom signed a first-of-its-kind law last week that could force some of these homeless people into mental health and addiction treatment as part of a new program dubbed the Community Assistance Recovery and Empowerment Court, abbreviated as the CARE Court, because we really care. The plan would, for the 2 years, provide a clinical team, an attorney, and a volunteer supporter, a role intended to help individuals understand options available to them during the treatment so they can make decisions with some level of autonomy. Okay, so now you've got 3 people, you've got a clinical team, multiple people, you have an attorney, you have volunteer supporters. How are we going to afford all this? And is it worth having 4 to 5, 6 people working to try to help someone that maybe doesn't even want to be helped? Okay, and also they said that this is voluntary. Individuals who qualify can still technically refuse to participate. And then someone from the ACLU said this is absolutely no evidence that this plan will work. It's just one more non-solution, and I agree. It's an absolute waste, again, of hundreds of millions of dollars. Homelessness has become a billion-dollar business, just like the war on drugs. We have to stop putting money into homeless services. That should be done only by charities, by local groups, not with our tax dollars. That's what needs to happen, and needs to happen soon. And here's a funny one, jumping from homeless to migrants. Good old New York City Mayor Eric Adams had said here this last week that the city is at a breaking point due to thousands of migrants who have been sent by bus from Texas in recent weeks. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has been busing migrants to New York City, Washington, D.C., and Chicago in an effort to offer border towns relief and raise awareness about the crisis. Yes, because the border towns are the ones that are getting all the migrants in and have being forced to take care of it, and the rest of the United States, along with our federal government, is doing nothing about it. And then last week, Greg Abbott took the tactic to a new level. He bused 100 people to Kamala Harris's, I guess, doorstep. I don't think her actual house. That'd been hilarious, but I think probably the Capitol. And then Florida Governor Ron DeSantis flew 2 planes of migrants to Martha's Vineyard. Of course, you've been hearing all about that, right? So, and of course, after that happened, I guess now there's lawyers for the migrants. So now these migrants who are illegal aliens have lawyers all of a sudden. Like, I can't afford a lawyer, but there's lawyers now for the migrants, and they're alleging that the Republican governor had violated due process and the civil rights of the migrants. Like, whoa, hold on. Civil rights? They're not American citizens. So do they enjoy the same rights? So they automatically cross the border and they get civil rights now, along with everything else. So, this is kind of a big mess here, guys.
Did you see the footage at all of the people that, there were some people that had volunteered there to take care of them, and I'm sorry, what was the
Martha's Vineyard, I think, yeah.
And so, I don't know, a couple days they fed them some food,
Mhm.
well, they were putting them on buses and taking them somewhere else. The people were singing songs, and they were
Yeah,
crying,
of course.
and saying, goodbye.
Yeah, I
And
know.
the migrants were looking like, look, these people are crazy.
They are crazy.
They don't even know.
Because everyone wants to pretend that they're helping. It's like, okay, I'll help you for a couple days. Just like I've been having conversations. All these people that are so all about helping homelessness, bring them in your house. You have extra rooms at your house. Almost every single person that supports all the homelessness has extra room in their house, on their couch, and can feed them. So again, stop taking my tax dollars and stop saying you're gonna, you care so much. Take them in your house. You know why? Because you're not. Because you don't care, because you're fake and you're a fraud. You like to believe you care about these people and you don't. And I'm going to tell you right now how to solve the problem. It can't be solved. It cannot be solved. We have to accept the fact that there's things that we cannot be solved. Again, it goes back to nature. It's really sad. Animals die. Like, I've seen animals die, and I don't want to see animals die. I've had to put down my cats. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want my cats to be put down, But unfortunately, they no longer, could live on. And so maybe that's what we got to kind of look at too for this. Again, I'm just the guy with ideas. That's where I'm at. I'm just also saying I don't want to be paying for it anymore. So yeah. And now I'm going to jump across the water here, because we have to talk about what's happening global economics and policies and fun stuff here. Because of course the world's a big mess. The UN's having their meeting in I think this week it starts. The United Nations having their meeting, and they're going to be discussing all these big world issues. I mean, the ones that they started. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey guys, you guys started all these fights. And so now we're going to come here and discuss them, and we're not going to have any closure. We're not going to have any solutions. So everything's going to continue going. And so I'm going to read this little bit to you guys here. After the humiliating debacle in Afghanistan in August 2020, when Americans were kicked out and NATO was routed, the Asian century arrived. While Queen Elizabeth II was dying, senior representatives from 68 countries were gathering at the Eastern Economic Forum on Russia's Pacific coast, a center for the new multipolar world. They were there to listen to Moscow's economic and political vision for the Asian Pacific after the fall of the obsolete unipolar Western Empire. President Putin declared, the New World Order is based on the fundamental principles of justice and equity, which actually is kind of a lie because he doesn't really believe in that, as well as the recognition of the right of each state and people to their own sovereignty path of development, which I agree should definitely be a factor. Powerful political and economic centers are being formed right here in the Asia Pacific region, acting as a driving force in this irresistible process. We must recall that Asia alone has over 25% of the world's GDP and 50% of the world's population. Asia is no longer a series of countries subject to colonialism by Europe and the United States, but the agent of planetary change. Time is running out for the combined West as a united world power. It is formed by a parasitical elite and betrayed by that elite's lying propaganda. all of its front organizations, the UN, the EU, the G7, G20, NATO, the WEF, the IMF, the World Bank, etc., have failed. Today, the US is bitterly divided. Some would say it is on the brink of a civil war. The only future for Western Europe is an alliance with its national partner Asia, or rather Eurasia, which means Europe going through Russia and accepting its leadership and respecting its culture. And that's completely true. We are living in a time right now with a shift in the way everything global geopolitics politics work. Okay, and the United States and Europe are going down. America needs to focus on itself and let Europe figure itself out, and let the Asia Pacific, Russia, China, and all of them do their own thing. And then, of course, talking about energy with all this extra natural gas that Russia has that's not selling Europe, Gazprom is finalizing construction details of a gas pipeline project with the Chinese and Mongolian partners. So, and that was something that Putin said here at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit. So it's perfect. Russia's going to sell all this energy to China and to other countries, and that way they can still make all their money, and they're good to go. And Europe is going to literally be freezing in wintertime with no natural gas because they decided to fight Russia. Good. I'm glad for you guys. Congratulations. But speaking of energy, this might be sad from tourists, but the Eiffel Tower is going to go dark earlier to save energy on lights. I guess they're going to turn the lights off on the Eiffel Tower an hour earlier, of course, to save electricity. I guess the Paris mayor announced this last week or so. And of course, he blamed it the war in Ukraine, and that's why the lights in the Eiffel Tower are going to be going off earlier. So maybe at one point in time, we're going to have to shut them off altogether. I don't know. But anyways, guys, that's all the time we have today. Andrew Gate, change it up. Catch you guys next week.
Thanks so much for listening to Change the Conversation with Andrew Gate. Andrew invites you to join him each Saturday at 8:30 for more balanced and